Hi guys, Chart Guy Charlie here doing another video, this time on NOVN, NOVN. There's been a lot of interest in this stock lately, so we're going to dive into it. Remember, do your own due diligence. No one can predict the future. Money management, that's your most important thing. I like to keep in mind the big three. Always have a day trade, always have a stop loss, and always have a profit target in mind. That said, we're going to move on to the charts here. Don't listen to the hypers, guys. Don't listen to the doom and gloomers either. Trade the charts. Develop your own trading plan, and stick to it. Don't be swayed either, away from it by people putting down the stock or people overhyping it. Just stick to your trading plan. So this time we're gonna delve into the stock a little bit deeper, and I'm going to talk a little bit longer. I'll give you my big three on charting. The first one is don't trade in a vacuum. Use multiple time frame charts, and always remember the macro time, the larger time frame. It takes precedence over the smaller. It's more significant. Number two, use trend lines. Follow, draw lines along the upward trend, and along the upward points of a stock trending up, and along the lower points of that stock trending up. They're important. And number three, use support and resistance price points. That's different than a trend line. Okay, so we're going to look at all three of those and how it has been affecting NOVN, and how it's likely to affect NOVN if you're trying to trade in the future. We can't predict the future, but we're looking in the past, and we're trying to see where this stock has had support in the past, where this stock has had resistance in the past. That's going to help us decide where it's likely to experience those same types of pressures and of support and resistance. So as you can see, I've started here on a 10-minute chart, and we're looking back. We're looking back here. If you look at where I've started drawing this brown line here at this top, where it caught this top and this top and this top, and what happened here? Well, an abnormality. It exploded through it, and when it did, it really moved. So it shows you what happens when a stock can break a resistance point. It moved a lot, and not only did it break that one, but it broke this dollar point, which is really significant, because that's a monthly line right there. That we're gonna go back and show you how important that red one is. It broke through it, got all the way up here to $1.30-ish, pulled back. Unfortunately, couldn't hold the dollar. If it could have held that dollar, would have been pretty significant. Sometimes when you break major support like that, it becomes the new floor, and a stock can just keep trending up like that for many days, and it could easily start a whole new uptrend, which I'm not saying it still can't. It's unfortunate that it couldn't hold, but anyway, we broke down. We hit this area, and I tried to find support on the upper trend, which was another place it could have bounced, but it broke through there. And now we're back in this middle trading range of this longer term trend, this 5-day, 6-day trend. You'll see again where it's found support on the green line. Support over here at 72, which was actually on Friday morning, I believe. So you can see the significance of the trend lines when looking at this particular time frame. Now, if you weren't looking at this time frame of 5 or 6 days back, if you were trading in a vacuum and you got up Friday morning and you just happened to look at your scanner and it showed NOVN, and you pulled up NOVN on the day, and you were just looking at Friday, and you weren't looking at Wednesday, and you weren't looking at Thursday, you were just looking at Friday, would you know that you had major support there? Would you know that you had major resistance here? No, you wouldn't. So you gotta be looking back all the time at different time frames, um, um, different time frame charts. So now we're going to zoom in on maybe 2 days back. I want to switch to maybe a 5-minute time frame, and we're going to look at what happened Thursday, maybe Wednesday, Thursday, and then Friday. So on Wednesday, the stock trended down all day here. Same thing Thursday, down all day. Friday morning, like I said, you get up and you weren't looking back at the previous day, or the previous 5 days. Would you have known you'd had strong support here? Well, maybe not, but you did. You had strong support down here at the 72 range. The stock found support there, started moving up, and this is where I made mention on the chat, the Webull chat, that look out if this breaks 80 cents, because it's likely to make a move, an strong upwards move. And the reason I said that, because I was looking back at this line right here from the previous day, from Thursday, and when it broke it did move up significantly. It actually made all the way up to this intersection of two resistance points, the $1 from a long monthly chart, and I'll show you that later on. Where this line comes from. We already saw where this brown line came from. So it would have been really tough to break that dollar, which is why it couldn't get through it, because you had an intersection of two lines of resistance. All right, that said, let's look at what could happen Friday. What are possible opportunities of getting into the stock if we're not into it, or where we might be looking to get out of it. Let's zoom in a little bit just on that day, because that's our most recent day. So after the stock broke this yellow resistance here, it shot up, and it started forming a flag. I called it a bull flag, and I was really thinking the stock was going to turn around right here and break out of a bull flag. Now I'm not calling it a bull flag anymore, because it went on a little too long and it's too deep. I would call this a 50% retracement now between the bottom of the pole and the top of the pole, or the bottom of this breakout at 80 cents to where it went. We're in this 87 range right now, where it kind of drifted after hours. So I would say the thing, because we can't predict the future, we don't know if this thing's going to gap up. We don't know if it's going to gap down. Let's assume it stays in this trading range all pre-market, and the market opens and it's at 88. So what are we going to do? Well, where do we have support and where do we have resistance? Well, we can see these trend lines that I've drawn from here, where the support is on a trend, and it's at. Let me clear this out so we can start fresh. We can see that we have a lot of support here at 80 cents. Not only because of this trend line here and here, but that's where it broke out. So we have double support at 80 cents. If the stock got near 80 cents, if it got to 80 in this 82 range here, I'd definitely be buying, and I would put a stop just below 80 cents, maybe in this range here. I definitely would be buying here and putting a stop here. I might even be buying in here because you've got a lot of resistance at 84 cents. It made a bounce here. So right off the bat, you could buy and put a stop here. If you wanted if you were nervous about this possibly breaking, this would find a lot of support here. So a lot of places to buy in this area and have a stop. That's buying on support. You can buy on breakout. If you bought on a breakout, anything above this trend line, I would consider a breakout. Not only would you be breaking the from here to here to here, not only would you be breaking this above above 90 cents in that sense, but also you'd have a low here. You made a high here, and we've got a dip going on here. So if you broke through, you'd have a higher low and a higher high. So this would be a breakout in the 92 cent range. So again, you'd be buying this breakout and maybe put if I was going to buy here at the trend line break, I would probably put a stop. You could go here. It's a 50% retracement, but you could get taken out very easily because it could easily go here and pull back to here. So where would you put a stop? Well, right there, right at that previous low at 84. So that's how you're using price points for your own use for stops. You can use price points, previous lows as a stop, or you can use the trend line as a stop. So you have to decide what you're going to use based on where you get in. So you have to use your own brain and have your own trading plan based on where you were comfortable getting in and where you're comfortable putting a stop. You don't want to have you don't want to be buying here and have a stop down here. You don't want to have that much of a risk, or you're going to just blow up your account. So keep your risk to rewards tighter is my advice. All right, so I'm not going to really talk about what happens if this stock gaps up or gaps down, because all the scenarios really change that I just talked about now. Obviously, if the stock was to gap up, up here, well, you've broken the trend line. You've done this, but is it likely to break $1 from there? Is it gonna gap and go, or is it gonna close the gap? We don't know. We can't predict the future, and it's all going to be about who gains that control first thing in the morning. So that's going to be a tough trade. If it opens up at 90, these upper 90s, that's going to be a tough trade to make. It can go either way. So I wouldn't know what to tell you on that scenario. Okay, so now let's go back. I think enough said about possible buys, opportunities on that one. Let's just go back and finish by talking about where that red line came from originally, because when I was saying my most important rule, don't trade in a vacuum, we looked at we started looking at a 5-6 day chart, and then we zoomed in and looked at a daily chart. Now, what's one of the most important things is keeping an eye on what's been going on in months previous. And if you look at, let me zoom back. Yeah, right in there is where I want to see. This stock back in January, right here, beginning of 2020. This is where that big drop came. It actually opened below $1. It drifted down into the 50-cent range. It made a run up here in March, but it couldn't break the $1. Went back down, a little bit of a run there. Then it just traded sideways again, a long consolidation right up until June. Made another run for $1 and couldn't break it there. You can see why this $1 line is so important. Why There is so much resistance there. And now going into the future a little more, we see what happened just a few days ago, where the stock finally did break the dollar on very, very strong volume, which is a good sign. It's too bad it couldn't hold it, but it's not over yet. We're still on an uptrend, and we're in this area here. So the future is going to tell us what's going to happen with NOVN, and we're going to find that out pretty soon, probably tomorrow or Tuesday. Okay, so good luck to everyone. Use your charts, use your own brain, and happy trading.